This is SWR FM 99.9 Top Hits Classic Dance Tracks. Before I introduce these two guys to you, listen to this one. Lifestyle. This is out of the local paper. Tribute to Talent. Duo takes out Mo Award. Now, what is the Mo Award? That is the biggest award you can get in entertainment, and it is really recognised in that area. The Elvis impersonator and all-rounder entertainer Chris Drummond, and winning the 2015 Mo Award, Best Variety Group. That's it, the Best Variety Group. These guys are good, and that's just like winning the Oscar. So who are they? Well, they're the guitarist is Barry Fiddler, and who is Chris Drummond? Well, we're going to find out right now. SWR FM. Hi guys, welcome to the microphones.
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, that is a great award. Tell us about it.
It was a surprise, I can tell you.
certainly a thrill, especially with the amount of fantastic talent that you're up against around in the live entertainment industry here in Australia.
Yeah, I think what people aren't understanding is the Mo Award is such a big event, isn't it? Because is it voted by your peers?
It is.
Yes,
it's like a board, like an academy. Yeah, yep. And just to make it through the thousands to be on the short list is just to be nominated. Well, it's just an honour.
It certainly would, and that means that there is real talent there. Barry, tell me about your background. It's pretty good, I think.
My background, started playing when I was about 12, guitar.
Don't be modest, some of the best groups in the world.
I was lucky enough to back some of the top bands of the 60s back in the UK, The Who, The Kinks,
Unbelievable.
Spencer Davis, Rolling Stones, yeah.
Wow!
Really
and what happened in regard to Rolling Stones when they needed a guitarist or an extra guitarist? You came in and helped. Is that the way it worked?
Yeah. That plus also backing them on shows like a support band.
Right.
The band I was with did a lot of work with the top groups.
And I'll ask you a question. You mightn't answer this question, but out of all the bands you played, and they are very big bands, which one do you think you liked playing with best?
Probably The Who.
Oh,
The Who, they were absolutely phenomenal.
The other day I picked up the guys were playing a bit of The Who on Friday, and I said, look, if you want to hear a great Who album, you need to hear Who Love It Leads, because Who Love It Leads was amazing album.
Amazing band. Yeah. And they still had Keith Moon with them too.
Yeah. When that's right. That's right. Gary. Chris. Sorry, Chris.
It's all right, I haven't changed my name.
Yeah, no. You know what it is? I know Gary Drummond, and that's why that happened.
There's another one? Okay.
Chris, tell me about yourself.
Well, I was born and bred and raised in North Island of NZ. I'm a Kiwi boy, but I came over here in '79 with stars in my eyes. I was just a young 20-year-old guy, and I spent most of my life on stage, and basically trying to sound like everybody else. I became an impressionist, and so much the British comedy was one of my favourites. And then all of a sudden, people turned around and said, "Well, why don't you start singing some of the biggest names in show business?" And I guess I just had a knack for being able to mimic people's voices. So in they came, the biggest my idolised was, of course, Elvis, and then I got into people like Buddy Holly and Rick Nelson, Roy Orbison, Gene Pitney, Johnny Cash, you name it. And I just said, that's it. The list became endless. So my whole conception of singing a song was to sound as close as I could to the original artist. And
that's what's important here, because I'm noticing what's happening in Australia at the moment. Tribute artists are everywhere. Fantastic. That's like it's taken over a lot of the areas. But what's important about you, Chris, is that you're multi. You can do all types of voices.
Well, it's like a...
This is what the award's about, I'd say.
I guess, studying each individual entertainer for so many years, I think the last 30, 40 years, listening to nearly every artist until you were dizzy, picking up their little their breathing techniques and all that type of thing, how they spoke, how they phrased, all that. It became like a character acting thing. And of course, I'm lucky to have, you know, a few octaves in my vocals now, so I can go as, you know, deep down like Johnny Cash and then hit the big stuff like Gene Pitney and Roy Orbison.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
And how did you and Barry get together?
Barry and I met
about
10 years ago. I was working with a keyboard player at the time. Rick, who has since passed on, was having health problems, and he said, "Chris, I need to step down, you know, because of my health." And Barry had always been a good friend of mine, and Rick suggested, "Why don't you bring Barry into the band, and maybe he can fill in until such time as I get well enough."
And that's what we did.
And well, Rick didn't regain his health after that, and so, in fact, he had several heart attacks. And Barry and I just fitted together like yin and yang. That was it.
And how long have you been doing this now?
Together? About 10 years together.
About 10 years together as a duo.
Yeah. And the actual award, when were you told about this?
Well, we've been nominated 3 years in a row. So when we first got nominated back in 2013,
yeah,
it was that was a surprise. That was a shock.
We just got an email, didn't we?
We just got an email saying, "Oh, you've been nominated for a Mo Award." Well, you know, we basically declared a national holiday for ourselves. You know. But we didn't pick up the award that year, and we didn't pick it up the year after. And as the old saying goes, you know, third time lucky, and we were in the right place. We work very hard at what we do. On the night that accepted the award, I said, you know, we love what we do, and we do what we love. But I find a lot of entertainers, a lot of bands sing the stuff that they want to. They forget about the people.
Yeah, probably.
That's right.
Yeah, they forget what the people want to hear. And I think that's why Barry and I concentrate on it. And I just absolutely adore people coming up even halfway through a song, at the end of a song, and they're standing in front of you and say, "Who sang that?" Or, "I remember 40 years ago when I first heard that song." So it brings back so many memories. We do the stuff that people remember the words.
You know what's important about this? I don't want to bring up singers, but it was an interesting situation. What happened? I was speaking to a couple of people, and they went and saw a Rod Stewart concert here a few years ago. And the lady said, "I said to the lady, what did you think of Rod Stewart?" I said, "Mate, it was good, but..." I said, "Well, what's the but?" He says, "Everything we wanted to hear, he didn't want to sing." Yeah. And he actually told the people, and he said, "Well, if you keep on asking for that song, I'll walk off stage." Can you believe that?
Well, it's like John Farnham, quote unquote, I don't like singing Sadie.
You know, but, I can't believe if you're going there and you're going actually to watch that singer, you'd think
you want to hear the hits.
That's exactly
That's
right.
it.
That's what made him big. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to play another track, Chris, and then we'll be back again. SWR FM 99.9. Here's Chris Drummond, In the Ghetto. Have a listen to this one. SWR FM.
As the snow flies on a cold and gray Chicago morning, a poor little baby child is born in the ghetto. And his mama cries, as if there's one thing that she don't need, is another hungry mouth to feed in the ghetto. People, don't you understand? The child needs a helping hand. He'll go be an angry young man someday. Take a look at you and me. Are we too blind to see? Do we simply turn our heads and look the other way as the world turns? And a hungry little boy with a runny nose plays in the streets, the cold wind blows in the ghetto. And his hunger burns So he starts to roam the streets at night, and he learns how to steal, and he learns how to fight in the ghetto. Then one night in desperation, the young man breaks away. He buys a gun, he steals a car, he tries to run, but he don't get far, and his mama cries. As a crowd gathers round, an angry young man face down in the street with a gun in his hand in the ghetto. And as a young man died, on a cold and gray Chicago morning, another little baby child is born in the ghetto. And his mama cries.
This is your station, built by the community, supported by the community, and run by the community. SWR FM 99.9.
Accent Carpets in Castle Hill are your one-stop shop for floor coverings. Accent Carpets have been supplying floor coverings such as carpet, blinds, timber, and vinyl to the public and to builders for over 25 years. Accent Carpets are the people you can trust. For all your flooring needs, 9199-8080. Accent Carpets are located at Unit 2, 15 Carrington Road, Castle Hill. Accent Carpets are a proud sponsor of Hit Mix on SWR FM.
Welcome back, everyone. Of course, we've got the Chris Drummond trio on the winners of the Mo Award 2015. The Mo Awards are the Oscars of entertainment. Their peers actually picked the Mo Awards, so that's how big they are. Welcome back to the microphones.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And of course, that was Barry doing his thing with Dancer. That was a great track. Yeah, Dances with Wolves. And we've had a couple of tracks there from Chris. Now, what is happening as far as the future?
Well, you're going to hear a lot. You're going to hear a lot more. We're basically covering the hits of the 50s and the 60s, and maybe we sneak into the 70s and do a couple of songs that you may remember. But some of the greatest music, and I think Barry will agree with me, come from the 60s, especially the British pop invasion and all that. Songs that are going to be around for the next couple of hundred years. And those are the ones that stick, everything. I was listening to Kiss FM some stage during the week, and I heard I'm a Believer, like that's Smash Mouth or something like that, and somebody said, that song? And I said, Neil Diamond wrote it back in the 60s for the Monkees, the song's 50 years old.
That's right. What's interesting about me, I do play a lot of Elvis, I will say that. I'm a little bit different because I play some remixes too, because a lot of the people have taken to some of their remixes with people. But 60 years, almost 60 years has passed away. Guess what the number one album today is?
Oh.
The number one album today is
If I Can Dream. I actually listened to it while I was at Graceland back in August before it was released with the Philharmonic Orchestra.
Amazing.
It is absolutely amazing.
I mean, when you hear his voice with the Philharmonic Orchestra, is amazing.
Yes, RCA was able to do that, especially with Graceland. I was talking to Jack Soden.
Tell the people that you know a few people in the know.
Well,
so tell them a little bit about who you know and who you met.
20 years ago, I was fortunate enough to be with my wife. We were honeymooning in the USA, and our biggest dream was to go to Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. Well, I had an opportunity to sing there during Elvis Week because one of the artists had not turned up. And then I got a great reaction, and in fact, the producer of the show came up and asked me, "Would you like to sing some more?" So by the end of the week, I was doing half-hour slots every night at Graceland, across the road from the mansion.
How amazing!
And then I was invited back the year after, and the
year after that, and the year after
I've been doing it for 20 years now. The guy that I work with is from Nashville, Tennessee. The year after I recorded my first album in Nashville, and it was all mastered and all that, and I started comparing and performing at Graceland the year after. So I actually work for Elvis Presley Enterprises now every year during Elvis Week.
That's where that TCB ring is, it? The one you wear all the time, taking care of business?
Yeah, well, over the last 20 years, I've been very fortunate to rub shoulders with all of Elvis's friends and his entourage and his family. I've met Lisa and Priscilla several times. His bodyguards, Red and Sonny West, very good friends with them. I've sung with his bands. I've worked with DJ Fontana, his original drummer, and also Scotty Moore.
Wow.
I've also worked with James Burton.
They're all the people I've dreamed of and never met.
Ronnie Tutt, Glenn Harden, Joe Gosher Orchestra. And the guy that I actually worked with, I'll tell you a little story. When Elvis passed away back in 1977, Hollywood called, and they made a movie called This Is Elvis, if you probably
another
know,
one,
starred Kurt Russell. Well, they rang this guy, Dan McCorkle, in Nashville, and they asked him if he would do the soundtrack for the movie, because Danny has probably got the closest voice to Elvis that you'll ever hear, and he turned it down because of his personal convictions and all that type of thing, family, church, and all that. And he said, "There's a young guy who's coming up in Nashville, and he sounds, very much like Elvis. Why don't you give him a call? I'll give his name." Next thing you know, this young guy records a song and does the soundtrack to This Is Elvis, and his name was Ronnie McDowell. And he did the song The King Is Gone.
Yep.
And he did the soundtrack to This Is Elvis, and of course became a megastar after that. And to this day, Danny and Ronnie are still friends. I've often had Ronnie come round to the house, and we'd sit down and chat and get the guitars out and play and drink coffee and laugh. And
it amazes me how many. Well, he's touched everybody, hasn't he? I mean, it doesn't matter. Forget about the background and what it was all about and what things have happened. But the man himself,
Elvis Presley,
man.
yes. Sonny West made a quote many times. There's only two people in the history of mankind that ever have brought so many people together on this planet. First one was Jesus Christ, and the other one was Elvis Presley.
Yep. No, I agree. And look, it never ceases to amaze me, because even, as you know, on 2SM they do an Elvis show, which is, I don't know if you know this.
I do know of it, and also
2-hour show
and
every
2CH.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And I say to myself, Kel Richards, what can you talk about week after week after week, year after year after year? But you know what amazes me? If that show wasn't rating, it'd be off air.
Exactly.
So it's got to be rating.
Everybody, I'd like to meet somebody who doesn't have at least one Elvis record, or cassette, or CD in their collection, or know an Elvis song. It's one of the most popular names, on the planet.
What amazed me was that he could do anything. I mean, like he could play anything, sing anything. It was just amazing.
He was a nice guy, evidently. Yeah. Never got to meet him, but.
And it's that's the only thing I've regretted, that he'd never toured and come over here. But I just remember even the Aloha concert where, and the '68 special, they were just magic,
legendary.
Everybody was dead and buried, and they didn't have him anywhere in sight. And he brings out the '68 special and blows everybody away.
Yeah.
In our show, we do an Elvis six-pack quite often.
Yeah, we chuck in 6-packs of everybody. Everybody. You chuck in 1 or 2 Elvis songs, but we chuck in a 6-pack. So you get 6 Elvis songs in a row. You get might get a ballad, but the rest are all rock and roll until we let everybody have a rest after that.
I'll tell you one other story about Elvis, which is interesting. And this has only happened a few months ago. I don't know if you realise they were promoting on 95.3 Beatles versus the Elvis.
Yes.
And the idea of that was that, it was that special session they had, and no one knew what happened. Well, you maybe might have to tell me.
Well, Elvis met the Beatles in Bel Air back in the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, and I went to that show, and this is what amazed me. And it was fantastic. It was narrated really well by Joe Spostito and whatever, and he did his thing, and it was put together so well. And then the Beatles did their segment. I don't know if you know how they did it, but they did their segment, and then they narrated the Beatles and said Elvis is dead and blah blah blah. And then Joe Spostito was telling the story about what happened between them. And then the last 2 songs, they came on stage together. And this is what's important. I'm going to tell you about. Elvis was with the Beatles, and that's what the magic thing was, that they always wanted to see if the Beatles and Elvis would get together on stage. Anyhow, they come together, and the last track was Let It Be, and they did this track, and I'll tell you, it was just amazing to hear the Beatles and Elvis together. That was the finish of the night. We walked out. I tell you, this is exactly what was happening as we walked out the door. Everybody was talking about, oh, wow. Wasn't that fantastic? And here's the statement I'm going to talk to. Elvis blew him off the stage. That's what everybody talked about, how good his voice was compared to the Beatles. So isn't that amazing? I mean, and I agree. I was there, I was listening to it, and I thought, when you put them both together, that was a fantastic song and a fantastic night, but Elvis had it all over him when it came to the vocals. It was quite amazing.
To this day, that's what the new album, If I Can Dream, RCA, of course, lifted Elvis's voice from the master tracks, and put the Philharmonic Orchestra in it, without all the fancy guitar work and everything behind it. And it's just a work of art. It really is.
It's just the man never seems to amaze me. He's number one in America. Today he's number one here. It's just fantastic. So I think it's a privilege for you to be able to see him. The man was great. Anyhow, Barry, a little bit about you. Tell me, in the groups you were with. Tell me a little about your life, because it sounds fantastic playing with the Who and playing with Kinks. They were just bands that are unbelievable.
Yeah, the Kinks, we were touring in Germany at the time. I was in a band called Johnny Love and the Spectres, and we were lucky enough to be picked to do the German circuit like the Beatles did, Hamlin and Ekenverdi and Keel and all that. And the Kinks were there on the same circuit, and we travelled around with them doing the opening spots with the Kinks. A lot of the work that we got through the agency, it's just an unbelievable story, really. Can't believe it.
And I can't believe you're telling me about the Who. It must have been amazing working with them.
Oh yeah. As I say, Keith Moon, the drummer, was still with them then, and they did the act of smashing up the guitars and the drums and that at the end. And
you were involved with the Shadows also.
With the Shadows, didn't have a lot to do with them. I play a lot of their material because people like it, We're always being asked to play Apache or Wonderful Land or something like that. And
how good do you think the Stones are live? Because you've played with them.
They were very loud. But yeah, they're still a brilliant band. It's a great show.
Yeah.
Great showmanship.
You've had a fantastic life. Just being with those type of people was amazing. And Chris being involved with the people in Elvis's band and whatever, it's just quite amazing. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to play another track here, and we're coming back very, very shortly. SWR FM 99.9. This is the Hit Mix Show. Top hits, classic dance tracks, Chris Drummond Trio, and of course they've won the Mo Award, the very coveted Mo Award for the Entertainers of the Year. SWR FM 99.9.
Get up in the morning, feeling mighty weak, tossing and a turn. Well, I ain't no sleep, oh baby, what loads of love taking? To romance or to heartbreak? Won't you say which way you gonna go? I gotta know, gotta know, gotta know. 9 and 9 make 4, and 4 and 4 make 9. The clock is striking 30, and I think I lost my mind. Oh, it's getting aggravating. How long can I be waiting? Tell me if you love me, yes or no. I gotta know, gotta know, gotta know. Oh, how much I need you. Have pity on this heart of mine. But if you need and want me to, I'll be your one and only till the end of time. Saw the fortune teller, had my fortune read. She sent me to the doctor who sent me straight to bed. He said I'm lonesome and I'm lovesick. I got my mind on lipstick. Will you kiss away my cares and woes? I gotta know, gotta know, gotta know. Oh, how much I need you. Have pity on this heart of mine. But if you need and want me to, I'll be your one and only till the end of time. Saw the fortune teller, had my fortune read. She sent me to the doctor who sent me straight to bed. He said I'm lonesome and I'm lovesick. I've got my mind on lipstick. Will you kiss away my cares and woes? I gotta know, gotta know, gotta know. I gotta know, gotta know, gotta know. I gotta know, gotta know, gotta know.
You're listening to Dominic and Hit Mix on SWR FM.
SWR FM 99.9, Dominic back here with, of course, the Chris Drummond duo, and what an amazing couple of people they are. Just won the Mo Award, and of course they're the best act, and that says Best Variety Vocal Group around Australia. How's that? SWR FM, welcome back, guys.
Hey.
Thank you.
So, tell me a little bit about when are you at the next club next?
Well,
This Saturday.
this Saturday night we're at the Blacktown Workers Club.
Right. Well, that's a big venue.
It's got to be one of our favourites. We absolutely love the atmosphere there. We got a lot of great friends. We've got a lot of people who come along, not only just to listen but to dance, and it's just non-stop for 4 hours. So it really is a lot of fun.
And I suppose winning this award, you'd be pretty busy now, I'd say.
We're certainly busy, all right.
It's getting busier.
Yeah, it's getting busier. It's come to the stage by where I'm getting a lot of agents ringing up and asking if they can book us for shows for next year, mid-year, towards the end of year, and I have to tell them, sorry, we're not available.
That's good.
Already. Yeah, so as I said before, a lot of clubs are booking us 12 months in advance now.
And I'll ask one last question I ask everybody over on here. X Factor and The Voice, what do you think of those shows? Be truthful now, no lies.
Oh.
I don't get to watch a lot of it. I certainly admire the talent that is out there. And being in the position that I am, I'm also a chef during the day. I don't get to watch a lot of television at night. But the X Factor and all that, and the what is
Voice,
that?
the
Voice and all that. Yeah, great if you're discovered. Great exposure. I believe it's very, very hard work. I guess it's like the Mo Awards sometimes too. Everybody thinks you're going to win.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more disappointing than when you don't get voted.
I think what amazes me is so many of those people win, but they don't make too much of themselves. Not many of them, anyhow.
No, I mean,
I don't know why that is. Some of the winners have gone on actually, and they're pretty good. But others,
and some of them who have incredible voices, incredible talent, incredible personalities, are the ones that don't get recognised.
Exactly.
And
right.
I believe, and this is only my personal opinion, that sometimes I think these panel of judges, whatever, they get it wrong quite often.
Yeah, and I think the voting's weird because like the public sort of they're stuck on certain things, aren't they?
And it annoys the public too, and that's Unfortunately, that's the way it is. I think it's all about money making. They record, they get known for a while, and then see you later. We'll get ready for the next show. And I don't like to use the word exploit, but
a lot of them when they do win, they virtually go into hiding because they're under so much pressure,
and then
they make very little money.
Burnt out and forgotten.
Yeah, that's right. One last question, and for people that want to become entertainers, give me your drum on that one. Because I know when people say to me, Dominic, you've been up with the best in DJing, how did you do it? I said, just hard work, guys.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
Practice.
That's it.
And always, it's like the universe, I always believe. If you come to a wall in the universe, what's on the other side? Infinity. And when you come to another wall, there's always something on the other side of that as well. So I find that entertainment is the same thing. If you cannot pour everything you've got into it, then you're not going to survive.
And it consumes your life, doesn't it? I mean, it's ever consuming. Like you either love it or you don't. If you don't love it, you might as well give it away. Because there's so many people out there without not making a cent, but they just love what they do.
You've got to like what you're doing, but you've got to give the public what they want to.
Exactly right.
And not just do it for yourself, because that's when you'll fail.
People come to see a show. Basically, we just don't stand there and sing. We put on a show, and people walk away and say, wow, I pay $100 to go and see a show like that.
Now, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've seen a few of your videos and whatever. You don't do the typical thing where you dress up like Elvis. Is that correct?
That's right.
And I think that's great. Believe me, because I'm sick and tired of impersonators looking like Elvis.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so I think that's good.
Well, anybody can look like Elvis. Yeah. Don't get me wrong there. But sometimes most of these guys, as soon as they open their mouths, it's all over. Yeah. Well, somebody told me that, wow, you sound a lot like Elvis. And I said, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. If I sound like Elvis, then to you, well, I appreciate that. It's an illusion. Nobody sounds like Elvis.
Yeah, well, that's right.
But if you can create the illusion, that's fantastic. But I have no reason whatsoever to dress up because people now come to the shows for my voice.
Yeah. That's
not what I look like.
And that's what I enjoyed because I watched the videos and I said, it's not dressing up like Elvis and looking like Elvis. It's a voice which counts, which is really
well,
good.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it when people say, oh, you just close your eyes and you're there. And said, well, don't forget to wake up,
Okay, guys, that's been great. That was, of course, with us this afternoon and tonight, of course, we've had Chris Drummond Trio, Barry and Chris, and you'll catch them in a club around, especially workers, I've been told, very shortly.
The Blackdale workers, we're there twice a month. Yes.
And the guys, you've heard the talent behind them, so fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Thanks for being on air, and it's been great having you this afternoon.
Dominic, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.